Welcome to Turn a Page, the official comic book club for Nerd Initiative. Each week, the NI Bullpen will be covering the world of comics, talking to creators, deep diving into some fantastic stories, and much more. Now let's hand it over to the team and turn a page.
Welcome, everyone. It is Tuesday, so you know what that means. It is time to turn a page. I am your host, Alan Dunford, and I have two very special guests with me today. I want to introduce Ken, and I want to introduce Tom. What's up, fellas?
Wait.
He stole my Kool-Aid.
Yeah, wait. You see, that is what happens when you are the reigning defending champion of coming on Turn a Page, the official comic book club for Nerd Initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the one and only Alan Dunford coming in hot this morning, or this afternoon, this evening, wherever you're watching this from. Like, how do we top that? Well, I mean, I know you have to do your intro because it's in your contract.
Nah, he got it. It's cool.
He
I'm coming at you live and direct, straight from a folding chair in the ODPH studio with no chutzpah because Alan stole it. My name's Off the Cuff Tom, Nerd Initiative, pop culture connoisseur. And to my right, your left, this is Ken M. He's the editor-in-chief of Nerd Initiative, but you also know him from the ODPH Parlay Hour. Hi, Ken.
Hi, everybody. This is going to be a fun episode.
I should have messed it up. I should have said we're here joined with Keith and Todd. That's what I should have done.
Jeez.
No, we do not associate with Todd.
Yeah.
Todd is like, we don't talk about him.
I know. Those are fighting words calling me Todd.
Yeah. But, you know, you can definitely tell by the vibe. We're super excited to have Alan back. And if you're not familiar with what he is doing and his team, they have a fantastic universe that is really taking Kickstarter by storm. And they have got a brand new addition to the family. A returning character is making a lot of noise that really, since his debut, has captivated audiences in the comic shops and really gave you an idea about the world's worst magician and the trials and tribulations that he goes through. Because live right now on Kickstarter is Pocus, Hocus 6. And this is a series that if you haven't gotten into, this is the perfect time to get into. It's been a while since we've seen Pocus and the team and in business. So, Alan, why don't you kind of fill us out? Where are we at? How did the story come about? And where are we going in with issue 6?
Yeah. So for those unfamiliar, Pocus Hocus is a story about a magician who sells his soul to a demon to have actual magical powers. He tries to cut out the middleman. So instead of learning how to do actual magic because he's awful at it, he decides, hey, you know what? I'm just going to sell my soul. That's the most practical thing to do after this, right? So years later, he comes to regret that decision, and it's his journey to get his soul back. So his journey involves himself, his assistant Emily, and his rabbit horse that we will probably get into later. But yeah, the story just follows Pocus's journey through hell. And it's kind of hard to talk about some stuff without spoiling it because, you know, we're at issue 6 now. So
That's amazing.
Yeah, so mild spoilers ahead whenever we kind of talk about this, but yeah, now we're on issue 6, and it's Pocus really coming face to face with the person who actually has his soul, and that is our big baddie Lily.
Yeah, I mean, the story has just been incredible thus far. I mean, I know we are big fans here. As you can see, Tom is representing the brand with with the most badass bunny in all the land, Horace.
He killed 17 angels.
At least.
In the Battle of Bloody Fields.
At the Battle of Bloody Fields.
Yes.
17. I have a whole army of demons.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes to show the creativity and just how much it's won everybody over. I mean, Horse in Hell #1 was one of the biggest Kickstarter campaigns you've gone through. Mm-hmm. And now going in with this one, I mean, I know Tom wants to talk about that campaign.
Oh, we'll get to it. Let's talk. We're on Pocus right now. Let's talk Pocus. We'll
come back to the most badass bunny.
Well, I was going to say, with the campaign going on right now, how has it been? I mean, obviously clearing it first day yet again.
Oh, wait, I'm going to go sign up for it right now, live on the air.
Yes.
Had those numbers online, baby.
If you see that QR code located in the top right of your screen, that will take you right to the Kickstarter campaign. So you want to make sure you click that and sign up immediately, because this is a book that when it comes out, everybody's going to be talking about. The tradition is still alive. The guy our guy Rich in the chair has already backed it live on the show. So we back up what we're saying here, folks.
Yep.
We all go out and buy this because it's that damn good.
And I want to give a shout out to Wesley in the chat. I think he was my first backer on this one. I think he was number 1. SpongeBob joke for anybody.
Oh, very nice.
Anybody? Okay, all right. That will be my first joke that falls flat this evening. Yeah.
You gotta laugh out of Tom, so you've done your job.
Yeah, it's fine.
But how has the campaign been going now? I mean, obviously crushing it first day, but still it's rolling strong.
Yeah, we're we went into this thing. I don't want to say with low expectations, but we were realistic because it has been a year and a half, and I feel like sometimes in the Kickstarter world that's an eternity to release a sequel to something, right? Because it wasn't for lack of boredom with the series or anything. There's another book that we work on called Grandma Chainsaw. And we knew that Grandma Chainsaw had a beginning, middle, and end. It was just going to be 4 issues, and that was it, right? So our original plan was to do issue of Pocus, Grandma Pocus, right? And then we sprinkle Horace in the middle because it's a different art team on that one. But once we got to Grandma 2, we were like, let's just finish it. Right. But not out of let's just get this over with. We just wanted to have our first completed series because Pocus is an ongoing series. Right. And it's just one of those things where, like I said, we went in, we're like, well, let's hope. Right. And yeah, the turnout's been great. We're over 150 backers already, been live since Tuesday. Wait, when did we go live? It's only been since Tuesday, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Just super happy with everything. So yeah, I've been live a week, and this is just the turnout's always been fantastic. Again, can't thank everybody enough for always showing up to this stuff. So yeah, thank you guys for supporting our stupid ideas.
But the thing about it though, which I think it resonates no matter when anybody picks up a story that you and the team does, that you go through and you can definitely tell it's a team effort. And everybody contributes, and you really are putting a lot of quality into the product. So even though Pocus's story is a little bit, off center, if you will, to kind of put it mildly, but when you see that, and then you compare it with Horace, and then even Grandma Chainsaw, which is a complete, left of center story, not connected technically with Pocus first, even though I'm still waiting on Horace versus the Dead Squad. I still need that one shot done.
Yes, absolutely.
But when readers are picking it up, they're getting the very genuine product of like how much you as a fan and as a writer are putting into it. And that's something that it's in this day and age, especially running on Kickstarter, that's something that the audience really wants because Kickstarter has blown up over the years to the point where, it's a go-to for fans, not necessarily needing a big publisher to go behind it. And then when you go into your stories and see it, like there's the connection that you're making, and it's really something that to see it go, like, honestly, it's so DIY. It's something that I really appreciate as a fan.
Well, hey, thank you so much because it's definitely a hobby, but it's also a labor of love mixed in with it. And this journey has just been absolutely incredible, especially with being able to tell a linear story like Pocus, right? Because at this point, we're in our second arc, and I never thought I would be able to say that about a book that I was working on, right? Because this arc will end on issue 8, and then after issue 8, we'll start issues 9 through 12. So it's just, we have it mapped out to where we want it to go. And with just, I said, with this kind of story, it's just, the sky's the limit with this stuff, or the limit is hell. I don't know. I don't know what it would be.
Well, that's the beauty about doing it indie and especially on Kickstarter. Like you're your own boss. So as long as you want to keep pushing the story forward, and as long as the readers are turning out for it, which I mean, every issue it's getting bigger and bigger, and you're seeing more fans react to it online. Like even peek behind the curtain at the ODPH, I get hit up all the time about Pocus and Horace and like what's going on, and everybody's asking like, when's
Excuse me. There you go. I'm in.
Proof.
I was doing it live.
He does it live, folks.
We'll do it live.
Yes.
And I'm the first backer of this tier also.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, we'll get into the tiers in just a bit.
All right.
But it's one
All
thing
right.
to go really into, how much it's grown, and it's such
Mhm.
a DIY thing too, and especially in how you think for where you started to where you're at now. I mean, and think about you took a year and a half off from Pocus to
Yeah.
come back, and the fans were waiting and really jumped right in. I mean, that's got to be just a tremendous feeling.
Oh, it is, and especially with the team because the big thing with Pocus is we always try to deliver as much unexpected stuff as possible, and we like to introduce all these crazy characters and stuff. Um, and especially with this issue, it's no different. And we do take this thing into a little bit of a different direction because we want to subvert expectations for what a because I mean, obviously, if you're reading this thing, you know how the stuff's going to go. We have a big baddie, we have Lily, and you know that there's going to be a showdown. But
Mhm.
how are we going to do that showdown, and what will that showdown look like? Which I think is going to be something a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun for everyone to check out.
Now, let me piggyback on what Ken's saying. Yes, it is a testament to everybody who has been following not just Pocus,
Mhm.
but it's everything. It's your whole rating. It is Horace. It is Grandma Chainsaw. You have such a phenomenal indie backing. What is that really like for you to understand that? Yeah, it was a whole year, and
Mhm.
here we are. We're still talking about it because you're that damn good.
Well, I appreciate it's surreal is what it is, and it's a hope that this can be a career one day, right? This is a hope that this could be my 9 to 5, right? Um, and yeah, man, it's just of course it's you're nothing without your support system. So obviously, huge shout out to you guys and shout out to everyone in chat and everyone who's not listening right now. So just it's so humbling and so surreal because this thing that was created during December of 2020 when COVID was still running rampant and all this stuff. And, we just got together to make something so we just didn't go as crazy as we already were. And then it kind of just blossomed into this because, like I told you guys, Pocus was only meant to be 3 or 4 issues, and then that was it.
Yeah.
And then we saw the reception for it, and we're like, oh, we can actually make this into something bigger. And then, then spawn Grandma Chainsaw, and then spawn Horse and Hell, and then all these other future ideas that we have.
He just says the names and I giggle and joy.
Yeah.
When does the guy who doesn't do horror giggle and joy over the shit?
Yeah.
Sorry, there's my one for the half hour. Sorry, YouTube.
But yeah, I mean, but it's something too to think where it started, and I mean, I always tell the story too about when I heard about this. I mean, we had Frank from Geek Freaks podcast, shout out to Frank,
Yep.
come into our chat, and he was raving about this, and especially he hit me up directly, and he's like, "Ken, you need to get into this. Like, this is going to be something you of all people would really enjoy." And sure enough, and to see like it's gone from being like you mentioned originally just 3 or 4 issues to now it's ongoing, and then to see the direction the story has really gone, and every issue has gotten better and better and better, and just really everybody's finding their groove with the creation of this.
Mhm.
That especially now, like when you just hear like, okay, we're going to be doing another campaign, everybody's showing up and showing out for it.
Yeah.
And to see now, especially with issue 6, and you said that there's no real timetable about when this is going to end, just basically when everybody doesn't
Yeah.
want to do it anymore.
Yeah, we never wanted to get too long in the tooth because that's why Grandma Chainsaw with a premise like that, like yeah, we love it so much, but we felt like 4 issues was good. We felt like this is a good conclusion. This is where it needs to be, and in classic horror vein, if we ever needed to bring it back, we could. But
Thank you.
with Pocus, but with Pocus, we wanted to keep the story and the spirit of this thing alive, and I think it's telling in all this stuff. And again, it's Horse and Hell, right?
Mhm.
It was one of those things people were asking for a horror story, and I always have to give Kit Wallace all the credit in the world for that because if it wasn't for him drawing Horse the way that he did just on the variant covers for Pocus, I don't even know if Pocus would have existed in this, or Horse would have existed in its own bucket. But yeah, and Horus is canon to the story of Pocus, so we actually do tie it in. It's not a what if scenario. It's not its own universe or whatever. Like the story does fit into the Pocus timeline.
It just comes in a different lens. That's about it. But a great way to put this is that in everything in the Pocusverse, it started off as a pet project.
Mhm.
Now it is a passion project.
Yep.
Period.
Mm-hmm. And I think I mean, that's honestly how it comes across too to the fans. And especially you've had so many successful campaigns. What was the approach going into this one? Because I mean, I know you always change it up a bit and obviously adapt to the times.
Mhm.
And especially with what you're offering here, because I mean, the first thing that caught my attention is Murder Mouse is in the mix.
Yeah.
All right, we need to talk about this.
What's this? Is
Okay,
the course on the
so
rival now? What the hell?
yeah, so there, man, and I wish it was working, but we were talking backstage. Sometimes Kickstarter it hates certain graphic formats, right? So one of the formats that I put on here, whenever I go to actually like view the campaign for some reason, it's in my preview. But then whenever I go to actually look at the live campaign, it's not on there. And I don't understand. So I figured out a way around it. But unfortunately, the way around it is going to be done after this interview. But we're actually running 2 cross promotion campaigns right now. One of the promotions is if you back Murder Mouse and Pocus Hocus at any physical level, you get a Horace and Monty the Mouse print. And then the other one, and this is going to be kind of a deja vu thing. If you back Pocus Hocus, there's a book out right now on Kickstarter. It's called Vampire Unicorn Hunter, written by myself and drawn by Brian Bellondo.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah. If you back both of those, you get a print drawn by Brian. It's a Pocus X unicorn print. So we'll take this one thing at a time. We'll talk about Monty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Murder Mouse it's created by a good friend of mine, co-created by a good friend of mine, Bill Stoddard. It's how do I word this? You remember the was it Bendy and the Ink Machine?
Yes,
Yes.
I
Do
do.
you guys remember that?
Yeah.
We're digging in the way back.
Excellent.
So it's kind of like this classic kids cartoon character was at the peak of his game, and then a new one came out, and it just took all of his fans and everything with him, and he just goes crazy and goes on a killing spree.
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, Curiouser and Curiosa.
Yes. But no,
Yes.
I mean, it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it is such a fun book. Our series artist Brian, he did a cover on it, and it's demented as it should be.
I was gonna
But
say, yeah, it has to be.
There's something like it looks like the world of Roger Rabbit and
Right.
Dexter.
Oh, 100%, man. But yeah, it's just it's a limited series, and it was just a way for Bill to tell his story about a crazy deranged mouse. And I said, Bill, it'd be great. Let's do a cross promotion print. That sounds like so much fun. So then we looked through the characters and what would be the best, and we said, you know what would be the best character for this cross promotion print? Horace.
Mhm. It's perfect. It's
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the other print, like I said, that we have for a cross promotion, because Ken, this is also going to kind of answer your question here in a second too. Our good friend Caleb Palmquist, he writes. It's gonna be it's like saying Pocus Hocus and Hocus Pocus, or Pocus Hocus Hocus. But I can't even do it now. It's like saying that because he has a book called Unicorn Vampire Hunter, but he's telling an alternate story and wanted me to write it for Vampire Unicorn Hunter.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Because in the original story, in the original timeline, the unicorn is the one that's hunting vampires, right? With his horn, stabs them through their heart. Who would have ever not thought of that before, right? But with Vampire Unicorn Hunter, the unicorn itself, it's a vampiric unicorn. So he wanted me to write the story and then Brian to draw it. So we ended up writing a one shot for that. And yeah, it's been a blast. And it's kind of crazy to actually think I have 2 Kickstarters running. At the
Okay,
same
there we go. Thank you,
Okay,
Murder
cool.
Mouse.
Yeah, you get it. Okay, cool. Yeah.
You're taking all Tom's money tonight, so
Yeah,
I'm here
sorry,
for you.
Tom.
It's payday this week.
Rip Tom's wallet.
Yep. Hashtag rip Tom's wallet.
But
as long as my wife's not in the chat.
yeah, but yeah. So Ken, then to answer your question, man, we knew that we were going to, again, we felt like we were going to have a challenge, especially coming up from a 1.5 year hiatus, not on the books that we were doing, but on the Pocus Hocus series itself. So that was one way to do that, was by partnering with other creators, and you know what I mean, just everyone just banding together just to help each other out even a little bit, right? Or just to get more eyes on the project. So we really wanted to take this one back to basics, and we're just doing a bunch of cover tiers, which is great, because all the artists that always reach out to us and want to work with us, especially for the Pocus series, is always just it's fantastic, man. It's a great feeling.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it definitely has to, especially the camaraderie there that you're seeing now more cross promotion, not just with you, but like with other campaigns now too. And I think in this day and age, I mean, would you say that it's more important to really network and really push it instead of just trying to go it alone?
Yeah, 100%. I'm always a firm believer in I guess collaborating, and that's anyway, right? Even if you just share out someone's post, or even if you just offer feedback for somebody, right? I love collaborating. It helps me be more creative, and it helps keep me on my toes, and the best person that I can be with when it comes to creation too. So, and as indie creators in this community, we all really do need to, build each other up as much as possible, just because there's so much out there too, right? There's always books on Kickstarter, and how do you separate yourself, right? And how do you grow your audience, or how do you even find, or how do you keep your existing audience engaged? And again, collaborating, I think is always so big.
Well, I've collaboratively backed all 3
Oh, no.
Kickstarters live online. Now,
Oh.
speaking of the Kickstarters, let's start off with Monty, and then we'll talk about Pocus. What are the tiers like for these 2 new campaigns?
Okay, so the other one, for Monty, it's really basic, right? Monty, it's a brand new story by Bill, and he just wanted to showcase this. So then going forward, you'll be able to add on more Monty and stuff like that. Caleb, he's kind of doing what I'm doing, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. Caleb is offering catch-up tiers on all of his other stuff, so you can get to any part of the story, any of their stuff. Now with us, the most interesting thing that we have done, and I want to give you guys all the credit for this, every bit of it. We created a tier called the Pocus verse, because I am not clever enough to think of that myself. And it has Pocus 1 through 6 and Horus 1 and 2 on it. We did not offer Grandma Chainsaw on this campaign, just because I'm still finishing shipping out Grandma Chainsaw 4 and the trade. So I wanted to make sure all that was done, just so no one else felt like, hey, why are they, offering this as an add-on and I haven't got mine yet, right? Just obviously complete transparency and stuff. So, we wanted to make sure that that was done. But yeah, and hey, there's Caleb right now. Caleb, the guy in the chair just backed it, so I guess we have to send him a print now.
Me too.
I'll be doing mine after the show. I just don't want to be whipping about my phone.
You're fine. You're fine. No,
real quick, so everybody knows the Pocus verse. It's absolutely fantastic. For honest to God, a pledge of $40. I mean, you've got what? You've got 6 physical copies, right? And then you have all the PDFs, so that way you can just
actually you have it's 8 books altogether.
Horus,
Pocus, 2 Horus and 6 Pocus. Yeah.
So it's 8 physical copies and 8 in PDF, so that way you can send one to your Aunt Tilly in Toledo.
Yeah.
But how many? Can you go out to the store nowadays and get 8 books for $40?
It's tough.
It's really tough. It's if you're supporting your local shops and they got to still make their margins, it is tough. But for this, because it is owner, it's right from the owner. Like, this is a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, well, I think you to just kind of piggyback off that. I think that it's very smart to also go for the digital, but also the physical too, because we have to respect the digital market, but we also, as fans, there's no other feeling like going into your comic shop on a Wednesday for New Comic Book Day and really embracing that. But especially like when you have the physical copy along with the digital, it's like you can take it anywhere. You don't have to worry about ruining the book. And like, I think for the deal that's offered here, like we stand by it because, as you see on the show, and maybe it's not the most professional thing, but we're buying it on the show because that's how much we support it.
Yeah.
And I think for what you're offering too, if anybody wants to get into this universe, this is a perfect way to do that. And
Yeah.
especially, you know, like I say, welcome to the Pocus verse.
Right.
Like,
And that's the thing. So and it's just ever growing because our next campaign, our next major I guess entry is going to be Horus 3. You know, the script's already done. It's
Hold
already
on,
been
let me
sent
get
over
the
to
other
Kit.
card out.
Yeah. So yeah, it's you know, we got Horus 3. We already know where Horus 4 is going to end, and then where our little buddy is going afterwards.
facing off of the Dead Squad.
Not yet. We're you know, okay, I'll be happy to talk about it because I like building it up, but
It's Horus 666 versus the
yeah.
Death Squad.
So it's Horus in Hell number 4 will end the Horus in Hell series. However, at the end of that, we go straight into the next one, which is Horus in Heaven. So yeah, we're
I don't look
setting
right.
yeah we're setting it up like the original idea was like the Divine Comedy. So we wanted to play on that with Horus. So yeah, the next issue or the next series after Horus in Hell will be Horus in Heaven.
All right, that's an instant take my money now.
Yeah.
I mean, but it goes to show. I mean, you think about a character, and I always kind of make the comparison with Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead with Horus.
Mhm.
Prime example.
Yeah, Horus was not supposed to be the breakout character, but yet he is now spawned into his own entity, and like literally to see the creativity going on here, and to think of, like, he's just a supporting character in Pocus, and now is like rolling into his own franchise. Like, I mean, as a creator, when you do this and you kind of see how it spirals into that organically, like, what is your honest reaction to those?
You go through the stages of grieving.
Really?
Because yeah, because you know, it's like Horus was just this, you know, it's a sidekick, and he was a bunny that didn't say a lot and didn't do a lot at first, right? And then he blew up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember whenever we were storyboarding Pocus and we wrote all this stuff and we were like tagging, like, this is Pocus's feel felt found. This is Pocus, where he's going, why he's doing this. This is why Emily's doing this. This is why the demon's doing this. This is where the demon's going, right? Like, we had everyone's backstory and everyone's why behind all their actions and all this stuff. And we just had Horus. We're like, okay, he's just chaos. Done. All right, cool. Got it. And then he exploded. And I was bitter, I was sad, I was angry, but now I'm happy because
You get an obvious wormhole to my wallet.
yeah, it's just because Tom's wallet, just as soon as I launch a campaign, it just appears in my hands. It's the weirdest thing. So
I made a deal with the Dunford.
Yeah, the deal with the Dunford. So the big thing with it is
That's
you
the
know,
next
it's
tier.
yeah, that's the next tier deal with the Dunford.
Love it.
The big thing about it though is it's lets us explore more creative avenues, and it lets us know that we can still keep Horus exactly the same in the Pocus series, the Pocus proper series. You know, we don't have to give him any more screen time than what we already did, because it's nice to sprinkle it in and stuff, because the series Pocus is really about Pocus's journey and Emily, right? But the Horus series, that's when we just get to be like, to hell with it, no pun intended, right?
Yeah.
Just heavy metal the whole way through, right? It's just crazy, it's wild, it's fun, it's stupid, and it's such a fun ride.
And that speaks to you as a writer, because when you compare, you know, Grandma Chainsaw, Horus, and Hocus, they really, or Pocus, excuse me.
It's fine, you got his last name right. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Hocus's story.
Yeah.
That says something to you as a writer and as a team, that you can change tracks. God knows there's too many writers out there nowadays that, you know, they're a one-trick pony. I mean, now I'm not saying anything about Vampire Unicorn Hunter, you know, of being a trick pony itself, because but that says something to you and the team that you've built, and that's the wonderful thing, that you can explore those other things, and that's why people are sticking around with everything you're putting out.
Yeah, and you know, Caleb, he's very particular about his work, and I mean that obviously in the best way possible. I think we all are, right?
Oh,
If
yeah.
you care about your project, you're particular about it. So that was one of those things where when he asked me to, work on a story, it was like, moi, you know,
Me?
like like a little tear comes to your eye, and then I think he only got me just so he could steal Brian along with me because I feel like Brian and I are kind of attached at the hip.
Oh, that's
So
like going for the ugly girl just to get the good look.
yeah, I'm the grenade, right? So he really just wanted Brian is what it was. No, but no, and that's one of those things. Like it's just a testament to that. And it's gratifying,
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to be. I mean, obviously, you and your team have really built up a reputation, amongst not even just fans, but with other creators, and especially going off all the campaigns you've done. Has there been one that you said like was the campaign that like you made it, or what has been your most favorite Kickstarter campaign that you've done?
Pocus 2. Just because it was that was the leap for us. It's because it was crazy, and you go from like Pocus 1 was like 70 backers,
Mm-hmm.
and then we jumped to like over 100 on Pocus 2. Like it was like a huge jump. Like we only made like, I can't remember, like $2,000 on Pocus 1, and Pocus 2 made like, 6,000. And it was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like it was one of those like, what in the hell happened? Did everyone back the wrong campaign?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all sales are final. Goodbye.
Yeah. All sales are final. I shut everything down to like, like, oh my God.
Like you said, it's the stages. He was in denial.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, like, it was one of those things where I think that might have been my favorite campaign because that was the gratification campaign. Yeah, of course, we've had two over $10,000 campaigns, and Horus 2 was very, very close to that as well. And I know we can do it again, especially with another good installment of Pocus or even Horus 3, right? And just even upcoming with some of the stuff, especially when we release the first Horus trade, like there's just so much stuff that I know that is going to be fantastic for us in the future. But yeah, like as of right now, it's just I think that one. Yeah, Pocus 2. And Caleb, you're the best in the biz. Love you, mean it.
Now, with everything that's going on, especially in pop culture media, everything's really turning towards, magical and so on and so forth. Like Agatha's, the big thing right now. What do you think about other folks finally coming into this? Because you started this back, like you said, in 2020. Do you think everybody's bandwagoning, or do you think that everybody's finally seeing this as another opportunity? And I think that there's a nice crowbar separation between that.
Yeah. Listen, man, I think creativity is such a beautiful thing, and I think everyone needs to express it like in some way. Just because it's just so, I don't know. It's just, especially after COVID, everything just felt so tense sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And this was a good way for me to kind of like, I guess express myself and just be able to take all these ideas that I had, bottled up and really just kind of push it out. But no, I think people are seeing, because I could be wrong, but I thought I saw somewhere that the like Kickstarter books just kind of keep growing and growing, which is awesome. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are some people that probably see this and they're like, oh, I can make easy money this, right? Because like you look and see like, God, whenever Kickstarter gives you a suggested, sometimes you look at it and it's like a board game, and the board game's made like $500,000, right?
Yeah.
It's like a DIY, and you're like, oh my God, I should make a board game. But I know that if I tried making a board game, I don't think I'd make $500,000 out the gate, right? But no, I think people see this, and it's, you're kind of in control, and it's the, kind of reaching for the stars a little bit, right? And wanting to be able to, maybe this is it. Maybe this was the one creative outlet that you needed to really put everything forward.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. I mean, and that's something too. I mean, just getting that opportunity. One thing that's been kind of buzzing around, the socials and such, is about like work-life balance with doing books. Have you, I mean, and you and your team always produce like a lot of volume with that. Do you ever find like there's a lot of difficulty doing that, or is just like this is so much of a passion project that like time, you don't even feel like this is work?
It is so hard
Yeah.
to find time to write scripts. Like it is crazy to think about, like, because I'll anytime I can, like, downtime, like, before I go to bed, I'll just be like, even if I get a couple pages in, it's like, okay, cool, great. Or if I get like more character designs down that I want to send over, awesome. Or if I'm taking a break at work, or lunch at work, like that's when I try to fit it in and everything like that, because I'm admittedly I'm a glutton for punishment, and I'm still in school, or I went back, so it's like that was stupid. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, I'm just trying to find like any outlet that I can, or any spare time that I can to write, just all this stuff, because there's so much that I want to do, and I don't want to slow down, because I'm afraid I'll get a headache if I do, because of all the ideas.
Now, speaking of the ideas, we know you, Alan, primarily for horror comedy.
Mhm.
Is there anything else in the works outside of that genre? Are we talking about pirates, knights, heroes, damsels in distress?
Yeah.
I don't know why I
Okay.
had to-
So yeah, I'm working on a book with Ruben Mosho called The Herald. We released issue 1 on Kickstarter.
Mhm.
Issue 2 is already done, and we're actually already working on issue 3. So we'll be releasing issue 2 here very soon, as a mini campaign like we did for the first one. And that one is a Western, so it's a supernatural Western, and that's been very challenging to kind of do that one, because Ruben likes to he likes to marvel it, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. So he'll draw the book first, then we write it.
Okay.
It's hard. That is muy difficult.
Yeah. I have to imagine. I mean, because like I say, it's a different style that you're used to. And
Yes.
like I say, and especially as a writer, when you have it presented to you like that, do you find like you touched on, it's hard, but is it a challenge that you like embracing, or you're just kind of like, I know I have to do this, and I'll do this.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I definitely embrace it 100%, because script writing is way easier, because normally, whenever I'm writing a script, I'm like, page 1, panel 1, we have an establishing shot of blah 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 blah. With this now, it's already drawn, so I just write dialogue. You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
just like, it's crazy how fast it goes. But no, there's some other ideas that I have kind of buzzing around a little bit, where I want to get into the YA genre, um,
Hmm.
and really kind of do that, like make like some, like, I don't know, just some good books for the young adult crowd out there.
That'd be interesting. Now, speaking of, branching out into other genres, what were some of the books that you had, for those of you who are finally coming over here to Nerd Initiative for the undefeated reigning champion of episodes here on tap, but we're just going to go back to it. What were some of your favorite books picking up as a kid? What was in your pull list?
Um, well, oh God, what was the name of it? Was it called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Is that the name of it?
That's a Ken question.
Is that the name of it? Hang on, I
I
gotta find out.
I
I think it's Scary
want
Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah, I want to say it's something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
So yeah,
scary
Scary
stories
Stories to
in
Tell
the
in the
dark.
Dark. Even though it scared the shit out of me just even looking at it, I get my 1 for 30 minutes. So it scared me half to death, because the art on it was just horrific on the
Oh
front of it and
God.
everything.
Oh,
But it was always just because as a kid,
Yeah.
I even loved the Twilight Zone, so I loved episodic stuff. So I liked Goosebumps, I liked that kind of stuff. And then I discovered, a little later in life, I discovered I Hate Fairyland by Scotty Young,
Yes.
and I think that's what really, like, was like, man, I want to do this. Like, this is cool, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I was hoping he was just gonna like throw in a random like, oh yeah, Wonder Woman or something
No, see, I
of the
didn't.
basic variety, and
Yeah,
that's
like,
cool. No, I like it.
no, I like Batman a lot. Like, that was like, Batman's my main, right? Like, so if I could ever write an established superhero story, I'd love to write a Batman story. Um, but I got into comics way later. I actually got into manga really early. So that was kind of my thing, right? Like, Death Note would be a huge influence probably for Pocus Hocus.
mm,
Um, And things like Blue Exorcist is fantastic.
That's a good one.
Yeah, The Promised Neverland, absolutely love it. Obviously Berserk is incredible. But Claymore, things like that. So yeah, I that was really what like sold me on storytelling, with as far as that was concerned, because I didn't know a lot about comics. I didn't have a lot of friends that read comics. And if you don't have people to help you sometimes with comic books and you don't know where to look, it's intimidating, because then you see like, Spider-Man issue 578. You're like, are you kidding me? I got to catch up. Right. Like,
Yeah.
Sound familiar?
Yeah.
yeah. So, but if you don't know that there's like different jumping off points. Right. And with manga, here's issue 1, go. Right.
Mhm.
You just do it that way. So yeah, I believe me, I wish I would have gotten to comics a lot sooner than what I did.
That's interesting. I love that whole roundabout story there. I like that.
But it's all about the journey and the destination and like where it leads you to. Because you never know where like the influences are going to come in, and then when you start making your own books, and you can kind of take from that experience and bring it to the tale, it really is something that it throws a unique perspective on the projects.
Yeah.
And that's something like I say, because otherwise it just sounds the traditional, and you kind of have that feel. But with your story, you can definitely tell it's something different, and in its structure and setup, and I think that definitely helps it, because it's not the typical roundabout way that you got into it. So your storytelling is not the typical roundabout way of portraying it on the scripts.
Yep. Well,
So-
hey, yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's absolutely, it's something that you can catch as it's coming across. Like, it's a different structure, and I like how it's formatted too, because where you go around, like the pacing is like literally on point. Like for all your stories, like you say, is never anything that's like too fast or not built up enough. But in the sense of just like the structure and where things are placed in throughout the story, I think it really connects too. And that's something you mentioned about going on manga and that influence there. Like, you can definitely see that in the stories too.
And that's the other nice thing is that we do this for a living, more or less, right?
Yeah.
We can kind of figure something out based on storylines. It is that road less traveled. It is the one that I would much rather go out and pick up than well,
Yeah.
other books.
No names.
No, because like I
We
say,
love all comic books here at Nerd Initiative.
yeah, this is true. No, but it's something that when you can find something that's different,
Yes.
I think the uniqueness of the Pocus verse is what really is its biggest strength. Because you might think where a story is going, and then something will go very left of center, and then you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Okay, what's going to happen now? And to think about, like with example in Horace's journey.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody thought that we would go into the places that we've gone with him in his solo series. And then let alone to come back and where Pocus has gone for the original deal gone bad.
Yeah.
And to now where he is heading into issue 6.
Yep.
And just the insanity that follows him. I mean, it's just something that when readers find that difference and find something new in this genre, like that's where they gravitate towards, and that's where you build up that big word of mouth.
Yeah.
So
Well, hey, yeah, for real. Thank you guys so much, because like I said, this has just been so much fun. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. It's just so much fun. And the turnout's always just so great. Just seeing everyone just being excited for it.
yeah, I mean, I like I say, any fans that go check out one issue, I don't understand how they can't be excited for more.
Yeah, and I of course I'm so excited for everyone to see what happens in this issue, because we really get to see a different side of Pocus in this one, especially given the title of this one, The Death of Pocus Hocus, and I'm going to say is Horus 3 is absolutely bonkers, and I even for us, like, Horus 3 is crazy, and I can't wait. I really cannot wait for that one too.
Yeah. Oh,
Me neither.
oh no.
And one thing I would like, so I do want to say this too, before we move on. Horus is, and I know whenever Horus 3 goes live, spoiler alert, I'll probably be back on here.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's not a prediction.
Yeah.
That is a spoiler.
Magic
I will
8 Ball.
come
Will I be
through
back
the
on here?
internet and find you?
so with Horus, it's great because every campaign we at least get a handful of messages from people that say, "Hey, I read this with my kid and we love it. We can't wait for the next issue."
Oh,
And that's like, that's one of those like, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the gratification of knowing your work is connecting with an audience like that. And I mean, that's the thing as readers, and I mean, amongst our bullpen, like when we have our chats and somebody mentions about a book they're really amped up about. I mean, that's where you kind of, make those connections and get more people excited about it. And that's how, when I brought over Pocus, the Pocus verse into the Nerd Initiative chat, and how that's now spawned into, when's Horus coming out? Like everybody's, amped up. Like that proves that you're on the right track.
they have to go through me first.
Yeah, it's sort of like, okay, how much did you spend on the campaign? Because you have to hit this quota before you can review it.
Yeah.
If you love Horus as much
Allegedly.
they have to love Horus more than I love Power Rangers.
Oh man.
And that is saying something.
Mm-hmm.
The limit does not exist.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Oh yeah,
say,
you've been in the chat, so
I say Alan understands that.
Yeah.
Speaking of throwing it back to like the Power Rangers-esque era.
I got my Pocus Hocus coffee cup. Just realized. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You see right now, especially in comics, that there's a return to like the classic cartoons coming back into prominence now.
Oh yeah,
much like the Nacelle universe.
Yep.
Gotcha Man by Mad Cave.
Everything the Saturday morning cartoons line from Mad Cave, which is Gotcha Man, Knights of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, Princess Guinevere and the Jewel Riders. What's the other two? And I'm completely blanking on it. Defenders of the Earth, Flash Gordon.
Yeah. Like when you're seeing those, properties come back into play, is there ever one that you watched as a kid that you're like, you know what? Right place, right time. I would love to bring this back into a comic book form and just go with it.
You know what? I'm going to have the balls and I'm going to say, give me Street Sharks.
Ooh.
Let me give me Street Sharks. Let me do a 4-issue mini on it, and don't give me any parameters.
I wonder. I think I might know somebody who owns that.
And just let me go. Just let me do Street Sharks.
Tom is literally emailing somebody right now. So listen, if this happens, you heard it here first on Nerd Initiative. Turn a page. I'm just going to put that out there. So while he's typing that away, Alan, I mean, you've got so many other projects going on. I know there's a certain chili cook-off that I am eagerly anticipating.
Yes, yeah. So I'll plug a couple of them. There's a book coming out here before too long. We're looking to launch December 1st. It's called Misfortune. I'll give more details on that later, but it's going to be available on, I believe it is what is that? What is the name? I think it's Global Comics. I believe it's going to be exclusive on there. So I'll be back on here to tell you guys more about that. So just be on the lookout. It's cool. Misfortune's real cool. The other one that we have coming out, it's looking like a 2025 launch. It's in partnership with Band of Bards right now. This one's called I Need Your Skin. And this is going to be a limited horror series about a woman who kind of gets more than what she bargains for with a Midas touch deal that she makes.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yes. And yeah, we got of course Pocus 7, Deacon Dan's Famous Chili. We're going to be working on that after Pocus 8, and that is about a church deacon that keeps winning the chili cook-off at his local church, and it is for one secret ingredient that the town is going to find out about.
Well, I just did my homework, and unfortunately, the Street Sharks are still owned by the guys who own Masters of the Universe, but we know a guy who writes Masters of the Universe, though.
We will just say this, never say never. But that's why you put it out in the karma, and we just leave it there.
Yeah. Oh, and we also have Final Girl Next Door #2 coming out through Bad Bug with myself and Kit Wallace on that one again as well.
Can't wait to check all of those out.
Yep.
So you have how many fingers and how many pots?
I have way too many. I have way too many, man.
but it's better to have more than not enough.
Right.
And especially with the work that you do and the team, we can't stress enough to everybody, when you watch this on Nerd Initiative YouTube or catch this in the ODPH podcast form, you got to really make sure you go sign up for this Kickstarter campaign, because every time Alan and his team puts in work on a book, you're going to get a quality book, a quality campaign, and really something to stand behind. Because, as cliche as it sounds, we're not only commentating about it, we also are proud patrons to support it, because that is how much his team puts the quality in, that it's an investment for us to do this. And
it's quality people in the team as
Yes.
well.
I say it's quality
Thank you.
all around, and that's why I say we go support it, and that's why we go very, very heavy for it. And you never know, we might have a giveaway coming up on Nerd Initiative for it. We'll have to do the whole stay tuned ... But before we let you go, Alan, just one more question for anybody that is watching or listening. What is the biggest piece of advice you could give to them if they were going to go start their own Kickstarter campaign?
Follow your dreams. Expect to spend a lot of money. No, honestly, just have fun with it and partner up with people. Again, it's what we talked about earlier in the show. Reach out to people that have been doing this for a while, or even other people that are new, like yourself, so you guys can feed off each other and learn off each other, because it cannot hurt to get a second opinion, and it cannot hurt to grow your audience with someone else.
Great piece of
Well
advice.
said.
Yes, great piece of advice, that if you were a creator that is thinking about doing this, Alan is somebody you should definitely model after, and especially him and his team. I could go rave about them all night long here, but the work speaks for itself. Whether you pick up Hocus, whether you pick up Grandma Chainsaw, whether you pick up Horse and Hell, the Pocus verse is one that you want to get involved with, because it delivers on everything you want as a fan, and everything. If you're looking for collecting, there's so much with that Kickstarter campaign they do. You can get lost in it, and that's probably the biggest compliment you can do, because it's not something that you go, oh, I forget about. There's always something there, like the tarot cards this time around too. Like I say, there's so much in there that you can find and get lost in, and that's the
metal
best thing to
covers
do.
are metal.
They're very metal.
They're
Yeah,
so
they are
metal,
very
like
metal.
they're actual metal.
Yeah, because you got the horse metal, didn't you?
I think I got the
I can't
horse metal.
remember.
I know I got Grandma's metal.
Yeah.
Because I love that cover. Like, to see that in that blood red metal just
Oh yeah, dude, it's brutal.
oh,
Yeah.
so good. My wife looked at it and went, "That's nice."
Yeah.
And for her, that's a compliment for something that's creepy.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
No, it definitely works. And like we say in the liner notes of this episode or the podcast form, you're going to find links for the Kickstarter campaign. Make sure you go sign up for it and do it right away, because the campaign is going till November 9th, I believe.
It sounds about right. Yeah.
Yes.
So we got Lord, how many more days we got left? We
10.
got 10 days left. Yep. So next Friday it
Yeah.
should end, I believe.
So go out and do it immediately, when you get done watching this episode or hearing this episode.
We're doing it live.
You're do it live like Tom and Rich did, because you know what? That is how committed we are to do this. And as you see that QR code, subscribe to Nerd Initiative on YouTube, because this episode will be up, and you can definitely click on this at any point and go hit that QR code right there on the screen. Bam, It's that easy. So, Alan, we can't thank you enough for swinging through. You're always welcome to just pop in the chat and pop in the show whenever you need to. And definitely we'll be having you on sooner than later.
Yep. All right. See you guys. Yeah. See you guys in a couple weeks.
All right.
Pretty much.
Always number 3.
It definitely works for that. So for Tom, our guy in the chair, Rich, and myself, thank you as always for listening to another edition of Turn a Page on Nerd Initiative YouTube. And always remember, when you're at a comic shop and you have a great issue in your hand that you bring in because you got it on a Kickstarter, like Pocus Hocus number 6, and you see somebody struggling to find something, hand yours off to them with a QR code and tell them to turn the page. We'll see you next time.
I'm out.